Greetings everyone, my name is Greg. In this video I am going to be talking about work ethic and how it can carry through into so many areas of a person's life that it's not just a job. And this is a bit of an update on another video I did where I talked about my job because I have gotten a promotion. I'm not going to name the company that I work for, but as I said in the other video that I unload trucks, and now I'm not the one that is throwing the truck for the most part because I am a lead. I have to maintain and watch and make sure everything is being unloaded at a good clip. And that's part of where some of my thoughts have come from in this regard. But before I get into the actual meat of the video, you will notice I have a microphone with headset, and this is a birthday gift from my girlfriend that I am testing out to see. I think the sound is going to be better with this than with the microphone that I had. So that's going to be a bit of a change with my videos. But there's also, since we're coming up near the end of the year, I wanted to show you guys a bit beforehand the next calendar that will be up behind me. And it is a lingerie calendar that the pictures on the back will show somewhat of what is inside. And it is a calendar. It's not anything. Don't get the ideas that I'm addicted to porn or any stupid shit like that. I don't mind porn. I like the female body, but it is eye candy. It's not something that is an addiction, to use that term. But the purpose of this video is to talk about what can be considered work ethic, but it also carries over with the aspect of losing weight, weightlifting, anything that is where you're wanting to make a change in your body and your personal appearance. Because you don't work out one time and go, woohoo, I'm fit for life. It doesn't work that way. You have to put in the work, of course, as well as continually put in the work, do the time, put forth the effort. It's not something that you can just do, in a sense, once and be done with it. It doesn't. Life doesn't work that way. The thing is, the same is true for a job. Even if you're starting out at the bottom level on a job, if you have a good, strong work ethic and you put forward 100% every day and push, before too long, you will see the results from the effort you're putting forward. And that is something that is, in a sense, evident in my life because I was going for a management position and I ended up getting one that was a little bit higher than I had expected. And I'm in charge of those that I used to be one of the crew members. And when a truck is being unloaded, it's not just the one throwing the freight onto rollers. That's only one part of the process. You have people on the line that have to unload those boxes and put them on the correct skids. The thing is, those that are on the line can sabotage the thrower if they're not working hard and consistently taking things off the rollers, because the rollers will get full and that slows up the person in the truck. And now that I am in management, I had going through my head the aspect of, okay, how can I improve the performance by those on the line? And it comes down to the thought of using people's own ego. Because I know when I would get to where I considered the truck mine, that was where I belonged. Because there was another guy when I had started there was a certain section and certain skids that he regarded as his, that it was his spot. Because every time he was there, that would be where he would go. And that was the spot he preferred. Now, over the year and a half that I've been there, I've seen him in different areas than that. But the one spot he gravitates to initially will be that one spot. And there's another guy that we get things in brake packs that are boxes that are having to be sorted through. And he had pretty much claimed that as his. And what I had said to some of the guys just tonight when I was in there, I wasn't working, but I had stopped in to go shopping. And I got the lowdown on what had gone on when I wasn't there, which kind of happens when I go shopping and they see me. But I had said that I want someone that's going to, in a sense, take and claim the truck. That they have the attitude going into it that it's my truck. One of, I'm going to take it and I'm going to run with it. That I'm going to make this happen type of thing, because that's the mindset that I had. Now, I will also want people to be able to be flexible enough that if somebody else would want to get a chance to be throwing the truck, that they can get in there and the other person isn't thrown too far out of whack, that they can switch to being on the line, but knowing that where they prefer is to throw the truck, and having somebody that I would look at as a dedicated thrower, because I don't want to go through the song and dance every day of people hemming and hawing of, I don't want to throw the truck, well, I don't want to throw it. I'm not going to stand there for 5, even 10 minutes where people are trying to be, not me, not me, not me. Screw it. Because when I start hearing the not me's, my initial reaction is, I'm going in that truck. I don't want to hear not me, I want to hear, I'm going to make it happen. Because that's just how my mind works. And the thing is, I also have the attitude regarding that of, there will be times that I have to be in that truck. And honestly, I want the guys on the line, I want to get them to the point where, and I think most of them are there now, that even if I'm in the truck, they know they got to move. Because they know for a fact I'm going to be loading things up real fast. And that's where I want to have it so that when I'm in that truck, it's akin to the parent driving the car and they're having the attitude, don't make me pull this sumbitch over. One of you will not like me if I have to stop this. And that's just one. The other day I had been in the truck and I started to come out and I did hear one of the guys go, oh shit, he's coming out of the truck. Yeah. In other words, you got to move your ass or I'm coming out to see what the hell's going on. The thing is, part of what I look at with all of this is there should be also the competition aspect. Because one of the things that I hear, and I've been hearing it for the past week, and it's been kind of back in the back of my mind, I haven't said anything officially at my job yet to the guys about this, but I'm definitely going to address it, is different guys talking about someone being lazy or someone being slow. And this is just something that, in a general sense, for all of you, If you're going to criticize someone else and how they're working, you better check yourself and make sure that you are not being slow. Because if you're going to say somebody else is slow or that they're being lazy, someone like me is going to look not just at what they're doing, but look at what you're doing and compare and see from my vantage point who's working harder. And if their work is exceeding what you're doing, then what you're doing is a case of projection. You're projecting onto them what you're actually having with your own issue. And in a sense, you're telling on yourself. That is where I will not tolerate the guys trying to treat the line in that area like high school. I am 43 now. I am not going to be putting up with high school bickering, nor am I going to put up with drama. That just ain't going to fly, because it would hurt morale. It would hinder the process. It's also, I recognize, especially because of how I am with throwing the truck. Like my other lead with me, he has a count running in his head when he's throwing boxes, and that works for him. That's fine. That's his way. It doesn't work for me. I don't do that. I can't have a metronome in my head. What I look at, whether I have my glasses on or not, is how much space do I have to work with. Because I have a set speed that I like to move at. And I look at, if I have, let's just say, 12 to 15 feet, I realize I can pick it up and I can really hustle. Whereas if I'm starting to see it getting down to, I have 6 feet, I have 10 feet, I have a foot, I have inches, then I start to get concerned. Because it's one, if things aren't moving and I'm seeing to where they're back to me on the rollers, and it also depends on what bay the truck is in. Because if the truck is in a bay that the rollers can be straight back, I like that best, because then I can see visually what is going on that line. But if it is in like bay 3, there's going to be a curve in that line, and then I need somebody that's going to be there to push the boxes. Otherwise, they're going to be falling off the edge. And when they do, some product can break and it can cause a problem and have us having to fix an issue instead of just trying to unload from the truck. The thing is, I want to get to where there is a competition type of thing. That what I'm going to be putting forward to these guys is the idea of, there's one person throwing. If I have 5 people on that line, there is absolutely no reason why that line should be backed up. Because if that one thrower can surpass what 5 people are doing, then those 5 aren't working hard enough. That's just the bottom line. Those 5 have to be able to be moving fast enough so that the one throwing can't throw fast enough. Because you have 5 people to 1. And it's one, I recognize that in the truck, the person throwing the freight isn't having to bend all that far. That's all well and good. But it's one, you have 5 people that, yes, they may have to move a little bit, but the areas that they're working on might be at most 4 skids. The one that would have the most distance to cover would be one that would be running grocery. But that's one runner, which means you have 4 others that are on the line and are able to remove boxes. So even if that one runner can get a little bit behind, you have the other 4 that can keep the space. And I would say if things would get backed up, like with grocery, and that one person wouldn't be able to grab it all, okay, the another person on that side, help them out. Basically, look at it as the five of you that are unloading from the line. You're a team and you're competing against the one in the truck. And if that one person can move faster than the five of you suck. And one of the things that I'm looking at and I'm going to try is, if people try saying someone is slow, I'm going to put their butt in the truck. Because I can guarantee you, if someone is in that truck and they're going slow, like they're basically in the neighborhood and just trying to be lollygagging, they're going to have me in there with them. They're going to have me right beside them, and pretty much, because when I'm in that truck, especially if I'm in that truck with just them, I can unload on them. And I can let them know exactly how I feel. And I would not hold back. Because it's one, those on the line, they might hear something, but they wouldn't know exactly what I'm saying. Especially the deeper I get into that truck. Because especially once I'm past halfway, I can unload on that person. And if they are being a lazy shit, you can guarantee they're going to get coached. I will not put up with it. I have a pace that I am used to. It's not a matter of a metronome in my head. It is a matter of, in a sense, a movement of how quickly you can bend and turn and put boxes on the rollers. Because one of the things that my lead, when I started, had instilled in me, and it's one of the things that I maintain and am going to also instill in those that work for me, is having the label up. Because that'll make it easier for those on the line to take the boxes off, because they're not having to fiddle with them to see what department it goes to. They can just look down and see. Now, some of the boxes you can see from on the side, it'll say what department. But I don't want to trust from the side. Or there's other boxes you can tell by the shape of the box or different things where it's going. Okay, fine. But as a general rule, and I also recognize because of smaller boxes on the rollers, those can be a pain in the tail, because they can get stuck and you can have issues with things getting jammed. But it's things like that, I will put something that's small, a little square box, or sometimes the rectangular shaped boxes that are just weird and they're small and they're a pain in the butt. I will strategize while I'm in that truck and looking at what I have to throw. If I see a big, especially if it's a big flat box, it doesn't matter to me if it's like mirrors or whatnot, because the little boxes don't weigh much of anything. So I can put little boxes on top of a big long box, have labels up, and not block the label on that bigger box, and the people on the line can easily see what department these little boxes go to, grab them and unload it all real quick. Because the company wants the semi that is a 52-foot trailer unloaded in 2 hours. They want that regardless of how many pieces you're having to throw. Now, for what are termed baby trucks that are under 2,000 pieces, that should be no problem. We should be able to get that done in a little over an hour to maybe an hour and a half. Whereas the bigger trucks that are up to like 3,000 pieces, that is one that it could take close to 2 hours, but it shouldn't take over that. Because if it's taking over that, I can guarantee you the person in that truck is having to slow up. Because I've had it already where I'm in the truck and I have someone else, a manager, that's throwing with me, just because we have that many people on the line, that we've gotten a truck done in an hour. So it's not a matter of being able to say that if it's too big, that it's going to take longer. No. If it's bigger, that just means you have to work at a faster clip. But it's things like that, and the motivation factor is something that I look at, because that aspect can correlate in with how somebody is with working out or with other aspects of their life. Because the way you work and your work ethic and how focused and dedicated you are to the job you're doing at the time, it will reflect on how you're running your life when you're not there. Because if you're not focused and you're not optimizing your time, then you're going to be lollygagging type of thing through life, and frankly, you're going to go nowhere. You're not going to be succeeding. You're not going to be pushing to the next level, because you're not pushing at all. And even if you're like working hard, but you're not optimizing your time as well as using the correct strategy to getting something done more effectively with less effort, basically the work smarter not harder, if you're not engaging in using your brain while you're trying to accomplish something, you could be making something that should take you 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you could be making it take you an hour or 2 hours. And the thing is, if you're in your own personal time and you're wasting your time, then you're going to have less time for other things that you would want to do, because you're spending more time on this one thing. So it's learning to optimize your time. While it may be, you may look at it as, oh, I don't give a shit about this job. Well, that's going to carry over to how you are in life. That you're going to look at it as, even when you do care type of thing, being, and thinking that you can just go through and leisurely try to accomplish something. You'll get it done sooner or later if you keep at it. But the point is, how long is it going to take you versus how long or how short a time could it have taken? Because when you're at a job and you push, it doesn't matter if you are flipping burgers or digging ditches or whatever you're doing. If you focus and have in your head of being the best that you can possibly be, in a sense, the Army be all you can be type of thing. And as another way the Army puts it, pay attention to detail and be mindful of what's going on around you. If you do that, guaranteed, supervisors, management will see it, especially if you don't need micromanaged. Because this is a big thing with me, and it is something that, at least for here and now, I have to remind myself that some of these guys are going to need micromanaged, and I don't like that. I can do it, but it's something that I want to get them to the point where they don't need me up their ass. I don't want to have to be up their ass and constantly hounding them. Move, 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 move. I don't want to have to do that. Because my leading style, the way I view things, and I've told different people in management this, that I see it as, I lead by example. These guys are going to see the sweat rolling on me. I've had it already where There was one point I had just thrown a truck, and I take a Powerade bottle with me when I go in. That, in a sense, that lets them know how serious I am. I'm going through a 32-ounce Powerade, mostly in the summer. In the winter, unless it's warm like we have in the East Coast this winter, a 32-ounce Powerade typically can get me through 2 days because I don't sweat that much when it's cold. But the thing is, in the summer, I'll go through one of those in the truck because I've already come out of the truck and my shirt is drenched. And there was one point, I don't know what it was, that right after I got done the truck, I went over and one of the managers had seen me and he had said, "Get that man a bottle of water," because he saw my shirt and saw it was drenched. It's when there's no question in their mind that I'm busting my ass, that I'm moving. And one of the things that irritates me with the truck is if I'm throwing and I get a good sweat going, and then things slow up and go to a screeching halt. And not only do I stop sweating, but the sweat on me cools to where it can look like I didn't even break a sweat in the truck. That pisses me off, because then it's one of what the hell has happened to bring things to a screeching halt. The thing is, it is all a matter of how hard are you going to push. And if you're going to push at a job, you're going to be pushing in your life and looking at it as, here's where I am and here's where I want to be. Because when you show someone that you don't need micromanaged, then they can look at it and be, okay, you know what you're supposed to do. You know what you're supposed to do, and so forth. Then I don't have to be there physically watching you to make sure that you do what you know you're supposed to do. That's how I want to get things to be. So that even if, based on whatever crew that I have, that I look at it and go, okay, the best place for me is in that truck. And to let them know, once I'm in that truck, there is the other lead out there. But don't think for a second that you can slack off. Because if I have to slow down, I'm coming out of this truck. And someone else, whoever I would deem as the slow poke, is going in there. In a sense, you're going in the oven. Because that truck, especially in the summer, it can get hot. And that's just the way I see it, because especially if someone's going to be slow, then I want them slow in somewhere that I can correct them and push them to being not so slow. The thing is, there are things that may work. I'll have to judge and tweak it, but it's something that I'm very results oriented, and it's not hard to get things to be flowing smoothly, as far as I see it, as long as you remove the drama and the high school bickering. Because those that want to engage in that, they're going to be an anchor on my ass. It's not what I'm about. I am about getting things done. Because the way I look at it is, in a sense, give me 2 hours and give me 100% for that 2 hours. After that, you can take it a little bit easier with stocking things and so forth. You won't have to be sweating your balls off the whole night. But one of, give me 2 hours to give 100%. Now, I would want to condition them to being that they could push for more and could push themselves, but that's up to them, really. You can't make someone work. Just like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. You can't make somebody do something that they aren't going to do. But it's one at a job, if they're not going to perform, then there are just steps the company has to take in order to deal with that problem. And if the person just doesn't want to work, then the company has to get rid of them because they're of no value to that company. They would only be hindering process. They wouldn't be an asset in any way, especially with people that are wanting companies to increase the minimum wage. Well, frankly, if you want companies to pay you more, you have to be willing to give more, because you have to be willing to put forward the effort that the hourly rate that you want would reflect. Because the way I work now, that I am in management, is no different than what I was doing for the past year and a half. I'm not suddenly having to work a lot harder because I'm making more money. No, I wouldn't have gotten to where I am if I hadn't shown that I can work at that level. So don't have the attitude of the more I do, the more they're going to expect. Don't look at it that way. Look at it as the more I can do, the more I will expect from myself. Because it's not about what the company expects from you, but what can you do? It is about improving yourself. It is not about trying to pass the buck and say they want me to do more. Why not I want me to do more? I can do better than I have been. I can improve. Not for the company, not necessarily even for the job, for yourself, damn it. It's not, and it shouldn't be, about the company. The company is a side note. That's where you are at the moment. That's what you're doing is related to that company, but you don't have to have that in your head. You can have in your head, this is about how am I going to be pushing myself in my life in order to get what I want. Because when you're at a job because you want to get something from it. And if you push and push and push, that effort will pay off. And then when you get the promotion, when you get more money, when you get the raise, you don't slack off. Or you don't go and slack until I'm going to wait till I get paid what I'm worth. You're never going to. Because you're going to be judged by what they're seeing, not what you say, oh, I'll give them what they're worth. I'll give them what they're paying me for. Then you're only going to get the bare bones. If you're giving bare bones, you can only expect to get bare bones. Because it's not necessarily that all jobs are a career. It's the mindset that has to be instilled. And that's what all of this really comes down to, is the mindset, is getting from point A to point B here. Because what you do physically is only, in a sense, part of the job. Having your head in the game is a far bigger part. But I would like to hear your thoughts and your feedback. Because one of the things I had thought about, and I'm going to try to see if I can get the higher management to go along with this, is to have a type of contest between the unloading crews, because it changes from day to day. The people that are there and so forth, and those that are on the line versus who's in the truck. And have it where the times and so forth of how big the truck was versus how long it took to get it done, that those things the company knows, and to be able to say, okay, like a 2,700 piece truck thrown by this person and these like 5 people on the line got done in 2 hours. And then to be calculating, okay, that is X amount of pieces a minute. It can be mathematically figured out, and to being okay and the winning wouldn't necessarily be the shortest time, it would be the most boxes worked per minute. Because if you're moving and you have a baby truck and you get it done in an hour and it's 1,700 pieces, that other truck that's like a 2,700 that took 2 hours, those people weren't moving as fast, because you're not having, in order for them to say they were moving as fast, it would have to be a 3,400 piece truck. There's the difference, that it's the rate that things are moving, in a sense, per minute, that you can look at it and go, this crew was really hopping. And to be having a contest where you would have somewhere mounted on a wall the winners for the month. This is the crew that won. This was their truck, the time it got done, pieces per minute. And that could be tracked by the company every month. And then when time would come for evaluations, they could easily look at that and say, okay, how many times in the month was this person or that person on the list of people that were on the winning crew? And in a sense, who being evaluated and they were in that job field, did they ever show up on the list? And that could be factored in as well as far as performance. How is your performance in the job? And that can correlate to how much of a raise are you going to get. There are so many ways that, because there's so many things a company has to look at when it comes time for you to get a raise, because people want, when raise time comes, they want to get the biggest raise they can get. But if you're sitting back jerking your fucking meat day to day, how can you expect that they're going to give you anything? Because you're not giving them any reason. You're not showing them that you're worth any more. And that's what it comes down to. It's all mindset. Because a lot of people, especially the younger generation, they have the give me, give me, give me. I don't want to have to work for a fucking thing. And it's a big, big problem. But feel free to leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. And by all means, if you like this video, give it a like. And feel free to share this on Facebook, Twitter, social media in general. Talk to you later, people.